short sale, whatever it is, what I hear somebody telling me is they're looking for a good deal. And if you're looking for a good deal, we have ways that we can get you those deals, but it takes some proper prior planning to make sure that you have everything in place. So when those good deals pop up, you're ready to make that offer, right on the spot.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to The Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh, and joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Chris Nolan. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing outstanding. Thanks for having me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, man. Yeah, doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Happy to be here. Another episode in the books, man. And first and foremost, let me just say, I want to say thank you for your service to the country. You did serve in the U.S. Marines, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I want to acknowledge that. Thank you. So let's get into it, man. We want to have some fun starting off this podcast. I got an icebreaker for you. It's called This or That. If you've never seen or heard, this is essentially two contradicting words and or phrases related to real estate, but I want you to just choose one. Now, if you want, you can tell us why you chose it. If not, we're just going to shoot through them real quick. You ready?
I'm ready.
My man. First one, home equity loan or home equity line of credit?
Okay. I would go with home equity line of credit, mainly because you don't have to use it until the time that you actually need it, as where a home equity loan, you're actually going to take that cash out, and then that cash is sitting there that you could potentially use it towards something that's not necessarily the project that you needed it for. Unless, of course, you have the project already lined up.
Yeah, that's a good point. Purchase or refinance?
Purchase or refinance? That's going to depend on your personal needs. But I'm in the selling business, so I'd have to say home sale.
Residential real estate or commercial real estate?
Residential is definitely an easier one for realtors to get involved in. It's definitely a lot more regulated than the commercial sales, but if you have the tenacity, commercial sales are amazing. They're systematic, and they're a lot more controlled if you know what you're doing.
Okay. Fix and flip or buy and hold?
Well, fix and flip is nice, but that's speculating. So you're taking a lot of chances on the market on getting that return. So if you have the ability to buy and hold, I think that's a much better investment, especially for the newer investor, where you can get in, do a little more inspections, and you have that return coming over a period of time, as opposed to trying to get that whole big thing right out of the gate. And unless you're versed in it, it becomes very difficult.
Interesting. Last one, cash flow or appreciation? I think I know the answer.
Cash flow is going to be definitely nice. And for our investors, they're looking at that. Appreciation, though, is going to affect everyone in America. And by owning a home, the appreciation of your home, we don't have a time in history when the homes have not appreciated. So if I had to choose one, appreciation would be the better.
Ooh, love how you just surprised us with that. I just almost knew it was going to go cash flow. That's the popular answer. So thank you for that curveball. You threw a curveball at me.
We're looking at it, the bigger picture, not just on the individual.
Right. I love that, man. All right, good, Chris. All right, let's start this thing off, man. We got into the fun part of it, so let's talk about who you are, Chris. If you can, in 60 seconds or less, tell us who you are outside of real estate.
Okay. So my name is Christopher Nolan. I'm the team leader of the Nolan Group. We started a little over a decade ago. I came from New York originally, went off to the Marine Corps. After the Marine Corps, landed in D.C. with the U.S. Capitol Police. And I stayed there until I decided that the government was not where I wanted to be anymore, and switched over to real estate. There's some backstory there, but ultimately, I always knew that real estate was the place that I wanted to be, and I was at the perfect point in my life where I switched, and I haven't looked back.
Okay, good. So, You mentioned that you move around a lot. Your current market that you are serving, let's get into that. Can you describe it geographically as far as the location? Then let's get into some of the economics as far as what's going on in the real estate world there.
Yeah, so my team started originally in Maryland when I came out of the government service. So we started our team in Maryland. We grew through Maryland, and then a little over 5 years ago, we expanded to here where I'm at now in Vero Beach, Florida, and our team has been growing through Florida. Our headquarters is located in Vero Beach, Florida, which is where I'm sitting right now, and the market's going great. It's obviously we have some limited inventory, but what it's allowing us to do is, because even though we have the limited inventory, with the interest rates climbing up a little bit, it's giving our home buyers the ability to still make reasonable offers and get some really great, conditions on those loans, so that our first time home buyers are actually now back in the market and they can get a reasonable offer without having to just take whatever they can get.
Okay, that's some good news to hear for people that's in the market looking to purchase. So that's good, especially in the Florida market. All right, good,
Absolutely. Yeah,
appreciate
we,
it.
we can negotiate a lot of terms, and that's what it's all about right now is the terms. We have the ability to do low and no down payment type products to get that person through the door. We have the ability to do in certain circumstances rent backs or pre-occupancies, or get seller concessions to help pay for closing costs. So it's pretty awesome what we can do right now.
Got you. You previously spoke on your moves and pretty much a little bit what you did prior to getting into real estate. But you said you realized that the government job wasn't for you. I want to kind of get into that a little bit more. If you can provide a little bit more context in
Yeah.
regards to the moment you decided you wanted to do real estate. Why did you decide that wasn't for you and real estate was for you exactly?
So, life has a way of just happening sometimes. And originally, this business plan was a compilation. It was me, my brother, and my best friend, and we had this whole plan from when we were teenagers that that we were going to do the sales team. My best friend was going to be building, and together we were going to create this real estate team. And that had formulated. We all went off to different branches of the service. I went Marine Corps, my brother went Army, and my buddy Rob went off to the Navy.
Oh, nice.
Yep, we went off. My brother unfortunately did not come back. My best friend didn't come back the same, and he's
Sorry to
struggled
hear
with that
that.
ever since. I appreciate it, and so that left me. So after the Marine Corps, I landed in the D.C. area, and the Capitol Police was time had come around, and it was a good secure job. But after 11 years of being there being on Capitol Hill, I sat in a retirement seminar to get ready for what was next, and just planning for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was there put up on the screen a pay chart of where I would be if I worked X amount of years, what I'd make, and all this stuff. And I realized that one, I wasn't happy on Capitol Hill. Two, I was not happy with having somebody else tell me what I was about to make for the rest of my life. And also with the government, I was constrained by whatever they told me, whatever the rules were,
Yeah.
doing all that. And I realized that by getting into real estate, I can help people develop wealth through real estate. And I can do so much more. The gloves came off. We created a program called Operation New Day, where we help veterans get the help that they need. We actually have a program where we collect furniture from listings and all that stuff. Any homeowners that don't want the furniture, we redistribute it to vets that have lost their homes, that are rebuilding.
Nice.
And all of the gloves have come off. I have no constraints other than what my ability is to grow and scale our business and what we're looking to do. So it's really become pretty interesting with what we've done over the past 10 plus years.
Isn't it crazy some of the things that happen in your life that kind of pivot where you are and kind of channels, it makes you make a certain turn. I'm pretty sure I wasn't even at that event, but I'm willing to bet the chart that the guy showed was not intended to discourage you from being in that position.
Absolutely not.
Your perspective was just, it took you somewhere else.
Absolutely. No, I knew exactly what he said and why he said it, but I also knew exactly what I heard.
Right.
And I call they're culminating events. Our lives are made up of culminating events, little things that are going to determine where we go, are the relationships we have, business, personal, professional, whatever it is. And that was, for me, was definitely one of them.
Man, yeah, it's so crazy. Like two people can see the same message and just get two completely different things from it. So
Absolutely,
that,
yeah.
that speaks volumes to that right there. I want to get into how you handle some of your transactions. Got different scenarios. This first one, I'm interested. I want to know about a time where you had to deal with a very difficult and or demanding client. Maybe had very specific like details or how they wanted things to go or whatever the case may be, and it just made your work longer. Can you speak to
Yeah.
that, please?
So we actually had a situation not too long ago, and it's actually kind of funny because that client has resurfaced again. But they came
Mm,
to me, they were in a bad situation. They have multiple properties and they wanted to sell off the first property. The
okay.
problem is that the client had previously told a bunch of the neighbors that they were going to be selling this property, and it was, even though the property had deteriorated, the location was extremely desirable.
Mm,
So apparently the client had promised it to like three different people. So when she originally, or when she finally decided to sell it, there we knew that there was going to be concerns because she already promised it to three different people, and obviously three different people, they didn't have proof of funds or any of that stuff.
right.
So we put it on the market, and she proceeded to get a lot of angry phone calls, and she was emotional about it. So what I had to do was I explained to her, I was like, look, this is what you pay me for. So from now on, you're forwarding your phone to me.
Mm,
So we wound up getting through, and it turned out that the three individuals that all wanted the property, none of the three actually had the financial ability to purchase the property. So they raised all these problems about purchasing a property when they were not in the
one even
position.
qualified.
No.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
and that's what I told her. I was like, look, let me do my job. We qualified. We got him with another one. Once we got through all those headaches, we got him with a qualified buyer. Wound up being a cash sale. We closed it like, I think it was like 22 days later, or whatever it was.
There
She
you
was
go.
happy, and now we're moving on to the second property for her.
Man, so they're just going out making verbal contracts and whatnot. Hey, you want? I'm selling my house. Oh yeah, I'll buy your house,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah, and as we
What?
know, verbal contracts
Who
are
does
not
that?
enforceable. So,
Right, especially when you're purchasing a home. What are we doing? Okay, to each his own. But it's nice that you were able to grasp that situation and control it.
yeah,
Still remaining professional more than
and
anything.
we have
Also,
to do that in this business all the time.
oh yeah.
There's a lot of them. It would be great for every transaction to go, perfectly smooth. But when you throw people into the mix, there's gonna be things
Mm,
that go wrong. Whether it's things that they didn't tell you about, things that creep up, whatever it is. So,
mm-hmm.
I've dealt with a lot of them over the years.
Yeah, that's true. And you're in Florida right now too,
Yeah,
so that's unique. When I found out about that, 'cause I've been to Florida a few times, and I know it's a very heavily populated population of different cultures, is what I want to say.
absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of different people, different backgrounds, different languages. Have you had any experience of having a client where there was some type of language barrier? Do you have any stories of that by any chance, and how you handled
Well,
that?
well, first off, you have to understand in the past 11 years, I've done help people move here, from all 50 different states, from
Mm-hmm.
and to, and in 15 different countries. So
Mm-hmm.
we've helped people of all different walks of life. On our team we speak, not myself personally, but between myself and my agents, we speak obviously English, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and Ukrainian. So we
Nice.
have a wide range of a lot of the languages that we come in contact with. And then I have a series of trusted advisors. When we do have people that speak other languages, uh, we have quite a few different languages. So if there is truly a language barrier that we cannot get past, we have the ability to work with interpreters or whatever it's going to take to get the job done. As far as
Mm.
just the different cultures, I've been doing this between real estate and my previous career being on Capitol Hill, where people travel from all over the world to be. I've dealt with all different cultures, so I've
Right.
learned the different tricks of the different cultures.
Good
So
point.
it's gone
Good
pretty
point.
well.
International man of mystery, right there, Chris Nolan. Hey, so has there ever been a situation where you were like, okay, you got this new listing, and you're talking to the client, you all have this plan. You're like, you know what? I can get this sold in 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, only to find out that it's taking you a little bit longer than that. Have you been in a situation like that? If so, can you talk about it and how you got through it?
Well, again, we've had a bunch, unfortunately, due to different circumstances, but I'll tell you about my favorite one, and you're going to have to bear with me because it sounds crazy, but it ends good.
Oh, man.
So I have a client was referred to me. It wound up being three parties on the deed. All right. So we listed it, and this was in the height of when everything was starting to get real busy. We went into multiple offers. We had 17 offers on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everything was going good. We signed the contract. It was the people who were buying were actually first-time home buyers, but had outstanding credit and down payment, so they were super excited. Unfortunately, about halfway through the transaction, one of my sellers passes away.
Oh, wow.
So it was bad, but the market was still rising. Sellers really wanted to sell, and they were happy with the buyer. They had done everything. They did not want to penalize the buyer. The buyer, luckily, still had a few months left on their lease, so everyone agreed that all parties, buyers and sellers, would go into probate with us. So we had to go into probate because of the way that the deed had been set up, and it took about 4.5 months. And 4.5 months later, we settled out on the property.
Yeah.
Now, the cool part of that story is a couple months later, I got a call from the woman's sister that passed away. She called me to list the same property in the same neighborhood. And when I got there, she greeted me with, I just want you to know I'm not going to pull the same thing my sister pulled. So as much as it was a bad situation, she made light of it. We wound up having a great transaction. And that one, we wound up closing it out in I think it was around 27, 28 days. So so it wound up, unfortunately, took a bad situation, turned it into something that was much more positive, and everybody won out of the situation.
I want to make sure I want to make sure I'm not missing something. You said she's not going to pull the same thing her sister pulled.
Her sister passed away. She was making.
That's
a joke.
what I'm like. Wait, oh my god, oh my god, bro! I'm like, wait, what? Oh my goodness, yo, that's a different kind of joke.
Yeah, she was a barrel of laughs. She was she was 85 years old. They were both in their 80s, but the second one was 85. She was a blast. Both of them were a pleasure to work.
I love that she was able to joke like that. That's crazy. I'm like, wait, what did she say?
Yeah.
Great sport. I love people with a sense of humor, man. Okay, so has there been a time where you gave a gift to a client after closing and it was someone would consider it an elaborate gift? Or have you seen someone maybe on your team or another client give a client a gift after closing that you would consider elaborate? Most elaborate gift stories.
I mean, elaborate gifts. I think the best gifts that I've received have been or whatever is long-lasting friendships. I have people that have called me up, and one of my favorite listing appointments to go on is when I meet a new seller, and usually I'm greeted by one of the party at the door, and they'll tell me straight up, "Hey, I don't like realtors."
Wow.
And and I know exactly where I stand at that point, but every time I've come up with that objection, I don't like realtors, they have become great relationships and great friends. I have one actually right now met me at the door like that, wound up before the appointment was over, told me that I was going to do all their real estate, and right now I'm in the middle of doing their 4th transaction for them.
Nice.
So I think the long relationship is the best gift that I've gotten out of that.
Who says that to somebody? That's so rude. Is it just me thinking like that?
No, absolutely.
It's not rude.
No, tell me exactly how you feel. It is so much.
Yeah, I get it.
Tell me, tell me exactly how you feel, rather than beat around the bush and pretend that I'm thinking about selling, I'm not selling. Tell me what I can overcome. All sorts of stuff if you let me know what I'm working with. The worst objection is the one that you don't tell me about.
Well said. Well played. Well played. Well played. I don't. I wanted to ask you this too when you brought up the other situation where your transaction was delayed due to one of your sellers passing away. I want to ask this, and I think back. Was there any situation where you had to push the closing date back because of something you or your client did, or may have missed?
Unfortunately, there was one that happened
Oh.
early on in my career, and it was my own fault, and it was a USDA loan,
Mm.
and unfortunately, the what happened was we ordered the inspections. I was a young realtor at the time, and I missed the fact that because it was a USDA that a well inspection was required. So I did not
Mm.
order the well inspection. So I wound up having to do a delay. We extended it out for 2 weeks because we had to have the water done. And everybody still settled, but unfortunately, that was 100% my fault. And you got to work with it. So I owned it, and it is what it is. And we roll on from there.
If you don't mind me asking, did that was there any financial penalty that you had to pay as a result of that?
For that one, no.
Okay.
The So what happened was in that particular scenario, because the house was vacant and
Okay.
my buyer needed to move, what we did was we arranged a 2 week pre-occupancy settlement at the same rate that he would have been paying on his mortgage.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he
Good.
didn't get penalized. I didn't get penalized. Unfortunately, I did, however, I there was another scenario where I did get caught with a payment, and that was because I've done a lot of new construction. And when my client was picking out their refrigerator, they showed me the picture. I said, "Oh, great! That's the same fridge I put in a bunch of other homes." I ordered the fridge. I missed one letter on the part number, and
Mm.
the one that they wanted was had a coffee maker in the door. The one I ordered was one with a water dispenser, but it was still a different color than most
Right.
refrigerators that we would use. So I got stuck buying a $1,600 refrigerator that I didn't
Sheesh.
want. So
Sheesh. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
so that was a painful lesson that I have chosen not to repeat. Since.
Do you still have the refrigerator?
Nah, no, no, no.
You sold it?
I sold it to a buddy of mine. He got a sweet deal, and I got a little bit of my money back. So
All right, good.
not
Man,
all of it.
$1,600 is crazy, but I've never purchased a refrigerator, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Secondly, to that, you miss one letter in a part number,
yeah.
and they
What?
give you a whole different product. But more than that, what I just learned is they have coffee makers inside of refrigerators now.
They got ones. Have you seen the ones that actually have cameras in the refrigerator that will email you a list of what's not in there?
No, stop it.
Yeah, yeah. They
That's
have ones that you can
crazy.
link to your smartphone. So like if you're out of milk, it'll tell you that you're out of milk.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh man. I mean, I know that's it's a random off topic thing, but I mean, I'm not surprised we have refrigerators with TVs in them. Look at where
yeah,
we are in 2023.
yeah. We got all sorts of neat stuff. So
So, foreclosure is part of the mortgage process in some cases, unfortunately. Have you had a client that was interested in purchasing a foreclosed home? And if so, can you explain how that process is different from purchasing a traditional home?
okay, so first off, we have to understand that the foreclosure process and the foreclosure market have changed drastically over the past 10 years, or
Mm,
over the past while. So originally, and what everybody thinks of with the foreclosed homes is homes that are distressed, right? They've been taken back by the bank, and typically in that case, you're going to find a home that is deteriorating.
yep.
It needs a lot of work,
Yep.
and so now I can get it at a really sweet price because I know I got to get in and do the work. Now the caveat to that is, of course, if the house it doesn't have all the systems to make it livable, regular financing is not going to work. So a
Mm,
lot of systems are going to either require to have cash or a hard money loan, and you're going to get a good deal.
mm,
But that market has dried up, right? the amount of investors there that are out there as opposed to properties that are available are very low. Now, that being said, the banks have realized that they are throwing away money by disposing of these houses and sending them to the market in less than perfect shape. So what we're seeing now is if you go onto the MLS or wherever you're looking for them, you'll see a large percentage of the homes are being refurbished by the banks and being put back out at the market. And even though it's technically a foreclosure, it's now being sold in move-in ready condition. So where people, thought that they could get them at, pennies on the dollar, that's really not happening near as much anymore. Not saying
Right.
that it doesn't happen, but at that point now it'll now qualify for regular financing, and some banks
Mm.
will actually even make repairs to the house prior to settlement.
Mm. Got you.
So
So because of the banks are putting their investing in, fixing it and rehabbing it, they obviously want to recover that cost. So it's going to be a
absolutely,
little
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Huh.
so I mean, they are still out there, but if you're looking for that, when I hear somebody say that they're looking for a foreclosure or even a short sale, whatever it is, what I hear somebody telling me is they're looking for a good deal. And if you're looking for a
Of
good
course.
deal, we have ways that we can get you those deals, but it takes some proper prior planning to make sure that you have everything in place. So when those good deals pop up, you're ready to make that offer, right on the spot.
Mm. I have a two-part question for you, Chris. I'm gonna start it off with, in your opinion, what's the most challenging aspect of the real estate industry? And I want you to think from two perspectives. One from a client perspective, with the clients that you've had, and then another from a real estate professional perspective.
Okay, so the most challenging thing on both sides, whether it's a client or um, the
The
realtor's
agent.
perspective,
Right.
is going to be people, right?
Mm.
And not having good communication. We can take care of everything has a solution, but the bottom line is you need to find a realtor, and we need to, as a realtor, we need to find clients that are willing to communicate. Just like I said, the person that opened the door and says, I don't like realtors, he was clear on, and it's happened a few times, on what he wants, or
Mm-hmm.
what his problem is. It makes it very easy for me to deal with that. If you want to buy a house and your credit is X and your income is Y and whatever it is, I can put together a plan for you. But if you refuse to get me the documents that we need or submit to the lender or whatever, it's going to make it very difficult. And if, as a realtor, if I'm not listening to you, you call me up, you tell me, hey, listen, I'm coming down to Florida. I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and absolutely no way do I want an HOA. But I keep bringing you to HOA communities because I think they're the best thing in the world. I'm not doing right by the client.
Mm-hmm.
So on both sides, it's going to be the people issue. The houses are great. I mean, it's a great way to build equity, but they're structures. Houses don't do anything. It's us
Mm-hmm.
that set the parameters.
Yeah. No, I love that response. I was not expecting that, but that is probably the most undermined obstacle and uncontrollable factor when it comes to that industry.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's no way to necessarily leverage people's egos, attitudes, personalities, things of that nature. I mean, what they consider a priority,
Yeah.
like that type of thing, it definitely would make so many obstacles in it. And I would expect something like a low inventory or interest rates or something like that. But people, that was a great response right
I
there,
had a I
Chris.
had a client that I sold his house for him, I don't know, a year ago or so. I negotiated. I got him $54,000 over any other house in that neighborhood. $54,000, okay, in his pocket. Yet he was pissed off because he had to make $300 in repairs on the inspection addendum. And still to
Huh?
this day, he harps about the $300. You missed and I even brought it up to him. I was like, "You're upset about $300. I got you $54,000." And he goes,
54,000,
"But
not
you're
5,400,
no
54,000.
54,000." And he says, "Yeah, but you're missing the point. I had to write a check for $300." I was
That
like,
is a businessman. He doesn't want to. He don't want to pay nothing.
"Yeah."
He
I
doesn't
mean,
want to take a loss at all.
so yeah. So I mean,
Yo,
so
wow.
that's what we got to deal with.
What a world, what an industry you have to deal with, Chris, man. Thank you so much for pulling up a chair to the closing table. We definitely appreciate it. At this moment, if you have any last words and or want to tell people how to reach out to you, please do so
Oh
now.
yeah, my pleasure. More than happy. I would say, you have to find a realtor that you trust, and this is a great industry. I was talking with my team earlier. This is the single industry we get to drive the economy of the United States. I mean, how important is that? We look at when somebody purchases a home, it creates 27 jobs and puts $117,000 back into the economy.
The economy,
All right.
yeah.
Not to mention the average net worth of a homeowner is 44 times that of a renter. So it's a no-brainer, guys. This is the best thing ever, right? It's safe, and in history, the prices have always gone up. It's a safe investment. All right. If you want to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you. My direct line is 772-539-2473. And you can always email me at cnolan@thenolangroup.com.
Yes, sir, ski. Thank you so much, Chris, coming by and dropping that knowledge like a real pro. We appreciate that, man. For our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, here's your opportunity to hit the like button. It'll put a smile on both of our faces. Make sure you also share the content and subscribe to our channel. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Chris, I like to leave our audience with a question before they leave the door. So audience, this is for you. Have you ever had a real estate agent that you had to fire in the middle of a transaction? No, this is for our audience.
Oh, okay.
You ever had to fire your agent for whatever reason? Chris seems surprised about it, but let us know why you had to do that in the comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you next time.